on his way to win it, overtaking Nafi. Is Pac gonna win it by KO? This is gonna be the knockout win for Pac, the M&M player.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and track maniacs across the globe, my name is Foof, and I'm joined in the booth by the man, the myth, the legend. It's Junior Pete Cubed, and we have had a long and arduous journey to get here to the Trackmania Grand League Open Qualifier Finals, Junior. There are going to be 8 competitors moving on, 4 of them securing themselves a berth in that Challengers League. Oh my gosh, man, this is a great day to get started.
The Open Finals, it's what every single step along this journey has been building towards. We find ourselves now at the precipice at the end of this season. We've had 4 Open qualifiers. From each of those, we found 4 competitors, and now we find ourselves in the top 16. You can see your Open finalists up on your screen right now. We've got Panda, we've got Wizzy, we've got Mimo Jr., Crosshairs, Barbos, Ratchet, Elcon, Volnera, Jean-René, Sam, Coco, Feed, Melio, Aside, Dionysus, and 16 of the best competitors that Trackmania Open League has to offer, and they're all dueling it out here as we find ourselves at the final step of this long journey.
And so if you're kind of wondering how we're going to be tackling this, I am so excited. You might have asked, imaginary fan out in the crowd. I heard you, because this is a great way of tackling. We're going to have all 16 competitors on the trap at the same time. We have a map rotating back and forth, and it is a round of 5 on that track, and you want to win 3 over the entire length. And so if you win 3, you move on. The first 8 to do so move on to that final 8, and they're battling for that top 4 position. I mean, I have always enjoyed everything I've gotten to see, but this just feels so much more like it is going to be a mad dash with all the cars on top of each other. Any mistake you make is magnified by 15 times now.
And we're guaranteed for each time, like, we're guaranteed a lot of different courses and different tracks to race on. And because of that, it provides this variability now where you could have a bad run on the first map of the pool, but then on the second one, you start to come up with better strides, better gains. And, well, because of that, it just opens up the competitive strategy and the tacticalness that you're going to have to bring in here. You're going to have to bring your most consistent run across the 5 different tracks that we have in our pool. You can't just afford to be good on only one of them.
Well, Junior, it's just the simple 5-head move. Just win 3 on your favorite track and then go on. I mean, that would be the strategy.
So
but,
simple.
That's what... It's simple in its simplicities, but complex in its complexities. I love this idea. I love this format, and I love all of the players that we brought along. And I hate to harken back to what I just said, but I mean, it's been a journey. It's been a trial to see as this community and as this group of players has advanced and moved on into this. It's watching figures and players who have possibly been in and haven't been in, looking to get in. This, folks, is a moment that this could be the biggest time of all of these people's lives, because they are getting a chance to make themselves professional players, and I'm all for it. I am so thrilled to be here, and I'm wondering which of these 8 move on, and what 8 have to now hop through these loops to get back here next year, or next split.
Yeah, I mean, you give yourself the best opportunity that you can right now. You find yourself, like you were talking about, on the verge of being in that TMGL,
it's right there.
That closed league. It's just right on the horizon, but only a quarter of these drivers and these players that are here right now are able to move on forward. They find themselves and they have to effectively play or drive their best race, because you can't afford any mistakes at this point. You have made it this far into the competition. You best not miss your shot when you get it.
Well, You're going to have at least 30, I can't remember the exact maximum you'll have because it is win 3 to move on, and 24 will be the max amount of, or the minimum amount of races that you have to do it if only 8 cars win 3. But the maximum amount you will have if everyone wins 2 and has a chance to win it, there will be 40 races. So it's some way, at some point in time, you have to make your mark and you will see an opportunity. And as that player, you have to take it. There is no room for these second chances and hoping for something to fall the right way because, Junior, it's not a win and go home. It's a win and have that chance to step up and prove yourself.
Got yourself an opportunity now. You find yourself with a load of space and a load of time. It's going to be a fun one. Personally, I'm excited. Who are you guys looking out for? We're reading you guys in Twitch chat. Who are you guys looking for? Out of these top 16 that we've got at our disposal, which player are you guys looking at specifically here? I'm pulling up my list right now. I got my eyes on Volnera. We saw him in the last qualifier just absolutely tearing through the scene. If he's got that same sort of momentum he had in the last qualifier, he brings that in here, he's bound to have some success.
I gotta say, if I'm looking over and past you, I think we're getting some Elcon spams in chat. I love to see it, but, you know, I have to go with a simple name and a very fun one to say. I'm a fan of the Frenchman. We got Feed, possibly looking to make some noise, and I am wondering if they can pull it off. I have been watching from afar at times and watching in the booth at times, and I'm wondering how all 16 of these players are going to find their way and shake it up and look to take that first step and most important step forward here as we get hopefully into this competition very quickly. I mean, I'm sitting literally on the edge of my seat. My chair's probably going to fall over at some point. If you hear a crash, it's okay. I'm fine.
If you hear a crash and suddenly a distant scream from the wayside, then that's Foof descending into the void. Because of that, we looks like we're about to be finding ourselves in this first round. We've got the top 16, and this is different than the open qualifiers because, Foof, we've got all 16 players in the same lobby. This one, we're headed into the warm-up right now, so we're not quite getting started, but this first map is going to be hard, and, well, I'm personally excited for this bit of a change of format, but it still should be the same level of competition.
Well, I mean, I look at a team, I look at a group of players that now have you all of them in the same spot. Some of them will have these ghosts enabled and some of them won't. I think it opts for players to have possibly that killer instinct in front of them when you look at it. This is not going to be just a couple cars. It's a legitimate pack. And if someone messes up, it opens that door for it to see if someone can look to overtake and possibly step up. But right now you have Barbo sitting in first place, enjoying that front run.
Enjoying that front run. One of the beautiful parts of Trackmania Esports is the fact that it is all up to you. There's no collisions. There's nothing that can impact your performance outside of your own decisions. So, find ourselves now going through these jump phases, and again, this super tight pack. Ratchet has already DNF'd, but the entire first through 15 drivers, they find themselves within 3 seconds of each other. This first round is shaping up to be a strong start for all of these guys.
All but the inside line there taken by, I believe, Wizzy, who's now out in front, making to try and hold on to this one. He touches, so it's up to Panda once again, who's been running clean this whole time. Just needs to close this first round out and will do so picture perfectly to take the first round.
A big fan of that identity phase because of just how much precision is required. Narrow tracks that you're jumping between. You cannot afford to have a mistake at that stage because we just saw it right there. You mess up, you open that door wide open, you kick it down, you let the floodgates through. Because of that, Panda's going to be taking round number 1. Certainly off to a strong start here as we get into this round of 16.
Well, already have our first score on the board for Panda, but I'm wondering if he can hold on. He's already out in front once again and possibly trying for the 5-head strat, Junior. Just go ahead and get all your wins out before anything else, so not worry about it and don't have to sweat for the rest of the afternoon.
You'd like to qualify as quickly as you can. That allows you to control the variability and not allow for too many tracks to be at your disposal. If you're really good on one, then you can hypothetically qualify on just one track alone, but maybe that's not the case. We've got Renan now finding themselves in this water phase, and gonna have to deal with the wet wheels after this, but no, clips themselves on the corners, now into the dirt, and it's a strong advantage found now for Ratchet.
Ratchet just out in front of Volnera, riding in second. We're sitting along here with Wizzy, who had such a strong run and just ended up just clipping at that exact moment. But Ratchet just gonna walk away with this one and take the second round just in front of Volnera.
Just in front, we've got ourselves a two-player race now as Ratchet and Panda have themselves on the scoreboard, but there's still 14 players that can still get in on this. I'm a big fan of this track. I'm going to keep harping on it. I love just how
You're all
narrow...
hard for hard?
You know, this track has won my heart over. That's a clip right there. I believe that's Mimo Jr. catching the environment right before they can get through that first stage of it. And, well, it's so precise. You cannot afford to make any mistakes. This is a great track to start off the round of 16 with.
Well, it's interesting to see as the person who's been... Well, never mind. Sam's cutting to the inside. I was going to say, whoever's been running him in that second position in the last race has usually that better line. Now we see Volnera, who was in second last race, holding on to first until Panda just steps up in that middle of the dirt section to take the lead and does a beautiful job of just avoiding those walls to hold on to this first place spot.
Oh, but he's going to lose it there. Clips the track, and now Crosshairs third place, but Panda's not too far out ahead. Keep on moving forward. I think Crosshairs is actually in first here. He is going to cross the finish line first with a 103.9. Good start for them as they're going to cross, and now we've got 3 different rounds run and 3 different drivers taking the finish line.
We're at round 4 of this track, and no one looking to move on just yet. And I mean, it has been a different group running at the front runner. It's kind of rotating around. I mean, you saw Panda there with an opportunity, has the first win, and has been looking on the outside in here. Had a chance in round number 3, but could not pull it off. Once again, we have Barbos out in front early. Ratchet right behind, I believe, in third. We have Volnera just with Wizzy sitting in fourth.
Definitely have this pack starting to be established where it seems like it's the same upper half as right in that initial pack. As somebody gets clipped right there. I couldn't quite catch the nameplate. As you can see, just, what is that, 5 different players inside of 0.2 of a second of each other, and then the top 3 inside of 1/10 of a second. So this is as cutthroat as it gets as we're winding down this track. And oh, that's another clip right there. Barbos is going to take the advantage. Crosshairs is hunting in pursuit and has him in his sights, just trying to drive along and cut down this space as quick as they can. Sam's going to take the advantage now, past Barbos, take the first place spot, and go straight through the finish line to secure themselves a point.
I mean, Sam was actually just sitting in the catbird seat that entire time waiting for the opportunity to arise, and in those final moments, stepping up to not overtake second, but first as well, to now have 4 separate players with a win in this first map.
Each single round that we've driven down, we've seen how somebody has been at that DNF spot right off the get-go. We're already seeing Nelio DNFing, but we've seen it all across the board through different players in this race so far, that on this track, that first stage, you can just get knocked out so quickly, and well, you gotta drive all the entirety of the track. You can't just win the first bit.
You have to win at the right moments, and we have seen that from a couple of these players. But once again, that pack of 4, Panda, Ratchet, Barbos, and Volnera, riding up front, Wizzy in 5th and Sam in 6th. But you need to be a bit closer if you're going to try and snipe, so some ground needed to be made up here, as that is a touch coming out. I don't remember who exactly it was, but it's Barbos and Panda sitting 1-2 right now as we approach the end. Right
on each other's tails now into this identity phase, and it's all precision from here on out. Panda takes the advantage, just has to drive straight on through, nails it successfully, and will secure themselves a second round win here as they continue on forward into the next set.
I gotta say, that was probably the round that Panda wanted an entire round to go, because that was the one that would have put them into that final spot, and then they could have won here as well. And so an unfortunate ending to that one, but now Panda moves on to that second point, only 1 away from moving on to the top 8. Junior, whew. Quick start and very, very fun beginning.
Quick start, and I'm glad that we didn't see anybody just win 3 right off
Just winning 3 in a row?
It certainly is always a possibility there, but it opens up the door for so much more competition. For the first 4 rounds that we watched, somebody different won it each time. It wasn't until the very last one where Panda won their second. They put themselves on that finalist territory, and overall, just a solid round overall. And well, we find ourselves now in this second map, and we're moving in as we speak. And well, we've got Panda on that finalist spot, and we're looking to continue on forward as we move on forward into quicksand.
Round skipped. Just kidding, everyone. now we're moving, unless we get round skipped again. But Panda, like you said, in the finalist position, and so with a change of maps comes a change of pace, but you're wondering if we'll still see that group of 4 to 5 cars running in front, but this time you have, I believe, well, that's Panda already stepping over the top to back into first. I had someone in front of them, but this is just a bit of warm-up, and we are vibing right now, ladies and gentlemen.
Just ensuring that we've got everything squared away so that all of these players can compete at their best possible capacity. We are in a pause right now, but have been impressed with Panda so far. We've got the camera on him for a reason. They find themselves in that finalist territory early on, and really only 1 round win away from securing themselves a spot in the next top 8 phase, which certainly is something that you'd want to be moving towards, especially when you've worked this hard to make it here.
Well, you know, I gotta say, when I get the opportunity to see a practice round, why not practice myself, Junior? Get a little bit of practice in. The players are out there running the track. Why can't I get the little bit of the old pipes warmed up as well? But I believe production set on the back, and we do have a tech issue we're working on. Junior, we don't need to pull them out just yet, but if we do have a big tech issue, we are ready and prepared to fix these on the back end. We did it last time.
Yes, we're working to make sure we can get you guys all the action and make sure that everything is secure as we figure out this lobby, we figure out what's going on. But we do find ourselves on quicksand, and I got to ask you for your thoughts on this one, Fu. Specifically, what are you looking at in terms of this map and this round, and what are these players going to need to do in order to succeed?
Well, don't ask me what the players are going to need to do, because it's a simple answer. It's always the same answer. They have to do their best. I mean, it's all they can do at any point in time, and it comes down to which maps you have practiced and which identity you feel more comfortable, because if you're not comfortable in quicksand, obviously there are 15 other racers, and you just want to have as good of a run as you can to carry that momentum and that confidence into the next round, where if this is your track and you feel confident on it, take your step, dare those dangerous lines, and try to get as many points as you can if this is your comfort map. And I think that's what you're going to see. You're going to see players who want to take risks on it and players that don't want to take risks kind of separate themselves.
And I think that's just the beauty of Trackmania esports. You are truly only playing against yourself. You are obviously in contention with other people, but it's almost isolated, because like you're talking about, you have to have those solid lines. You can take those aggressive turns and not worry about the outcome, whether you clip a car, whether you clip the environment. Obviously, clipping the environment tends to be a bad thing, but yeah, but just maintaining that momentum and maintaining that composure, really, you can play almost just focused entirely on the track. You don't have to worry about really anything else other than putting up your best line.
Well, and sometimes, and this is a harsh reality of life, you might feel very confident on this track, and maybe you feel like it's one of your better tracks and you have one of your best times, and then it doesn't work out, or it might not work out, Junior. You have to make sure as a player and as a competitor, you do not let that put you down. You need to adapt. You need to be able to forget the bad and the good, because it is always next round up. Can you find that important point? Because it is 3 and move on. And if you don't find your 3, you're going to be back doing it again in a couple months.
Yeah, and you give yourself just a plethora of opportunities. We have a lot of rounds up ahead as we get things sorted out behind the scenes. We have so many different rounds that are going to be driven just because of the scale of this. We have to have 8 advance, and each of them need to win 3. So because of that, we're bound to see at least all of these tracks, in my opinion. I think we'll see just about every one, given how the first one went. Because of that, you have so much just variety. You have so much opportunity. It's a question of not if the opportunity exists. The question rather is, can you take it when you get it?
It is always a game of finding an opportunity and making sure, Junior, you take full advantage of it. But I gotta say, you know, tech issues, man. Technology is amazing and it does wonderful things, but it always decides to not work when you rely on it. And so with a basically entirely remote scene, you're going to have issues like this, but we're hitting the server as hard as we can with the old wrench to make sure you it's percussive reinforcement, I think, is the technical term of hitting something until it works. And so we'll get that fixed on the back end as well. But Junior, as a competitor, have you ever been in a situation like this where you have a chance to step up, possibly a relegation type system? Do you have any I guess participation in something like this?
I guess the only applicable example isn't in esports, but it's in real sports. I was playing the soccer game, and we got rained out during the warm-up, where we had about a 2 hour break as we let this thunderstorm and effectively a tornado pass over the field. Because of that,
like Mario Super Strikers.
Exactly. It was like modifiers enabled and everything.
Yeah.
But because we had gotten all warmed up, because we had stepped into like a prepared state, when we retook the field 2 hours later, we were completely cold. We were completely shell-shocked. We had to re-warm up in about a tenth of the time that we had initially, and because of that, it really threw us off our game. We weren't able to win the playoff game. We weren't able to advance on forward, but that can show you just kind of there's a physical aspect to it, but there's also a mental aspect to it. Whenever you find yourself with that kind of space, when you get prepared and you lose it, then, well, it just throws you off your rhythm and you're going to have to move on forward.
Well, you want to talk about moving forward? We're going to be moving forward, but shortly, because we're going to be taking a break to make sure we get everything fixed in the back end. So, folks, make sure you stay tuned, because in a bit, an undetermined amount of time, we'll be back. So, Foot Jr., we'll see you around in a second. I think. Wait, Junior? Hello?
Hello?
I think we got it, right? We might have got it fixed here. Okay. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to the Trackmania Grand League Open Qualifier Finals. My name is Foof, and I'm joined in the booth by the man, the myth, the legend, Junior PQ. Had our safety equipment on, and we were making sure we got these servers fixed as we did once before, but the players joining back. It is still the round, or well, the group of 16, cutting it down to 8, seeing who will move on and who will be going home. Whoo! I'm ready, man.
I'm ready as well. We can ditch the hard hats. We can ditch the high-vis vest.
I'm feeling pretty snazzy right now.
We do find ourselves now second map. We did have a bit of a technical issue, but we do find ourselves here very shortly. And we're going to find ourselves, I believe Quicksand is our next map. And I'm excited for this one. We didn't get to see a single round of it last time, but we are going to see a warm-up. We didn't get to see the warm-up. Yeah, exactly.
See, all I gotta say is that it is always a great day when we get to go in and physically fix the servers, Junior. You know, it was so great seeing you in the workspace, you know. Gotta say, as always, looking great. Suit, get up. I forgot my jacket in the work closet, so I'll go get that back when I can so I can be looking snazzy again. But holy cow, Quicksand, make sure you got all your shoes clean because, you know, I still have some. I'm still pouring out of my boots when I got back. But all the players loading in. I'm ready to see who can move on, and I believe it was Panda, who was the only one with 2 rounds in that last map. Yeah,
we saw a great version of diversity there. We just had so much spread out competition where we saw 4 people win a race across the first 4 rounds, and then Panda took their second as well. We entered that 5th round, so it's a new map, it's a new opportunity.
New map.
And because of that, it's a bit of a different track that you got to drive down.
Usually it goes like new map, new players, new me, but it's new map, same players, same competition, same stakes. You need to win 3 over the entirety of this first heat or so, and right now you have Panda with 2 and a couple other players with 1 apiece, and then a lot of outsiders looking in, trying to get their first of what they believe is theirs and step towards trying to qualify for that Grand League Challengers.
Yeah, certainly looking to qualify for that closed division because, I mean, that really is where you start to show against some of the best drivers that Trackmania has to offer. When you find yourself at that kind of a situation, when you have that kind of an opportunity, we talked about it before the first round, you better not miss if you got your shot to take.
Hey, you know, we talked about it coming into break, you know, having one chance, one possibility perhaps you have to take full advantage of, but you're going to have a lot of chances to do so, but it's 15 cars. There could be a moment where you take it and have the wrong step, the wrong entrance, the wrong exit of a turn, a single misbrake on the brake or the gas, and it just throws the whole race out of whack. You need to have a short memory. You need to be able to come back and attack that next round because it has to be that mentality. That mentality of next one up is the one I need.
Yeah, I like that you say that short memory. That's a really good way of putting it. You can't remember what you just messed up on.
Gotta have the memory loss.
Yeah, you gotta have goldfish brain. You just gotta circle around the tank and come back around to a new track and a new opportunity.
I gotta say, I'd be worried if you had goldfish brain because you'd forget the turn that was coming up that you needed to hit. We would see a lot of people just controller disconnecting, going straight very fast. It would look very fun. The content would be chef's kiss, but I don't know how strong the racing would be if we had the goldfish racing group.
You know, that would be something. That would be something.
You know what? I would actually possibly pay money to see goldfish, like with the input gates and whatnot, to see how long it would take a group of goldfish to complete a Trackmania track. But we're getting off track here, and getting the players on track has been the key. And, you know, apparently the server wants to be my best friend and my worst enemy at times. But, you know, we're getting everyone in, and it's like sometimes it's corralling everyone into a very tiny gate, and it's like, come on, guys, come on, let's go, let's go. It's just, I already told you, I'm sitting at the edge of my chair. I'm ready to rock, and I'm not sweating, but I'm almost there, you know.
Yeah, we're achieving that slowly because, I mean, we're both excited about this race that we've got up ahead. Again, we've got Quicksand coming up. We're just fixing things on the back end so that we can bring all the action to you on the front end. So we're getting all those things set up. I gotta ask you though, Foof, out of all these names that we've looked at, we've got that top 16, and we've seen just what these players have to offer. We got game now. Well, we're in the warm-up, so we're getting a little bit baited here. We're not entirely in, but we are all in the lobby. What is one of these players that you've been looking out on, and you've been hoping that they were going to win? You thought they were going to win one, but then they couldn't find it on a heart.
I don't know. I mean, I shouted out my man Feed, and it did not seem that Hart was his track, but I'm wondering if Volnera can step up, because he was sitting in that second place spot a couple of times and was looking like maybe he could have come into his own, but it just did not happen. And so I'm wondering if this can be the chance where he gets his first win, and it would be huge for them.
Certainly would be. We're watching the warm-up right now as well. We're just winding down, but you can get a brief glimpse into this track and what it has to offer. Lots of jumps, lots of slides that you're going to have to make. Because of that, you cannot afford to make any of these mistakes. And, well, quicksand can come back to bite you, as I assume we're in the identity phase now, where you just lose that traction, you lose that ability to drive, and, well, it puts you just into that awkward scenario.
Well, it is... Chaos is always a form of opportunity, and with 16 cars on the same track, it is always going to be some form of chaos. Even if there's no collisions enabled, it's still that kind of cat and mouse game. If you see someone in front of you, you're trying to run up to catch them. If you're in front, like Panda is, you have those biting at your heels, and so you want to stay out in front. But the man with 2 wins already under his belt, Panda, out in front early.
Not only has the finalist tag, but also finds themselves at the front runner of this pack. And again, just a tight-knit group. I think it's 5 different players inside of 0.3 of a second of each other, and that top 4 inside 0.2 of a second. So they are crossing the lines. They're crossing these checkpoints as quickly as possible. We've got Panda, Dionysus, Elcon, and Ratchet in that front pack. Ratchet's in 4th and working their way back up. As well, we got ourselves a race here as now we go into this quarter pipe scenario. Well, they'll slide around that preferably, and now they find themselves favorably.
Well, we were riding along with him in warm-ups, and he is continuing to impress. Standing out in front, you have Panda, Elcon just behind him, almost at 2/10, trying to knock on the door. It's going to be something spectacular as Elcon diving to the inside, takes the lead. Panda running right behind him. Elcon trying to hold on, trying to stay in tune, and he's going to get the win and fend off this finalist.
First round of track number 2, and well, we see ourselves with yet another player onto the scoreboard, and this time it's going to be, I believe, Ratchet now. Good stuff right here to keep up that momentum and keep up that energy, especially after the break. Now they find themselves on the scoreboard and they're shooting for the straights.
And it is an interesting run for all of these players, and once again, you have that familiar man out with that red tag out in front and just in control, but was unable to finish exactly where he wanted to. Feed literally almost door to door metaphorically with Panda, and is just standing stride for stride with him right now.
Standing stride for stride. 0.08 of a second separate Feed and Panda as they go through that checkpoint. Make that 0.12 of a second, I believe. I believe I'm doing my math right. I don't necessarily understand decimals, but again, this front pack is so tight. We've got 5 different players inside the same of 6 different players if you count Crosshairs and Melios. So this is as close as it gets, but Feed's going to mess up. He's going to clip the environment, and I believe that's going to be a DNF. No, he keeps on going, but he's dropping spaces quick.
Dropping spaces, and Panda not dropping much at all. This was the spot where all of that ground was made up by Elcon, and once again, it is a big run coming towards it, but unable to make the pass. Panda going to close this one out and secure that first spot in the top 8.
Panda the first to qualify here, as we do have several races left to drive, several rounds to complete. But Panda, they've given themselves the best possible opportunity here. They've taken, it's only been, I think we've only seen 5 rounds total, 6 rounds total, and they've won 3 of them. So hats off to them. They find themselves in a great spot here.
Well, it's a solid spot, and now we see, I don't remember who that was exactly falling off, but the front pack making itself known once again. You have Elcon, you have Feed, and I believe these 2 blue and gold cars rocking around. Is it Dionysus just dropping out? Wizzy, opportunistic now standing in first as he just kind of collected that first place spot.
He's going to take control of this one, and he's got about a 0.2 of a second advantage over Volnera, but is hunting in pursuit. I say that right as Volnera clips the environment, and now Barbos is going to take their spot too. No, doesn't have the best turn, doesn't maintain as much momentum. I say that as they just drift right around Wizzy here. It is neck and neck here as we drift closer towards this identity phase, and it's Wizzy versus Barbos here to see who can take their first.
Well, it's such a fun kind of mismatching game where you're seeing the differing lines. Wizzy going high into some turns where Barbo's dropping down in the same one. So it's who can find that mark, and Barbos finds the post, not the checkpoint. Wizzy taking his first win, and we're getting a lot of ones on this scoreboard.
Lots of ones indeed, but I think that one thing that I look at with that is I believe it was Wizzy that didn't quite cross. Because of that, they find themselves in just an awkward spot. They have to take that inside line. Because of that, they hit the post, they don't finish, and, well, unfortunately, just the way Trackmania works, there's not entirely points for second place, so it doesn't entirely matter if you bow towards the end if you give it your best possible shot.
It's the old Ricky Bobby adage, perhaps. You meet first or last, and, you got to get the wins, and that is the most important part, especially in this format. Volnera just in front of Elcon, sitting in third is Jean-René, and Jean-René in a very solid spot in this third place, just resting behind these two front runners, but you're going to need to close this ground in before you hit this identity mark.
This quarter pipe phase could be great. We've seen players opt to go high. We've seen them opt to drive low. Because of that, it's all about how you most positively maintain your momentum. I say that as there's a bonk right there on the environment. Now Elcon has a solid advantage, is looking to continue this one on forward. Are we really going to have a different winner for every single round that we drive? This is going to turn absolutely insane as Jean-René clips the environment also, and Elcon's going to take it through the flag.
Elcon just so big here. That's his second win, I believe, in this track as well, to make kind of his name known. And there's still another lap to be played. Perhaps Elcon getting all three on this singular track. We've had one player in Panda move on, but now I'm wondering if Elcon can have a repeat performance. Backing out early, you have Ratchet, Dionysus, and Feed, and I believe Jean-René in this front kind of conglomeration of cars.
It might just be because what we've seen is that top four, or the four in that group, so it's been a bit more spaced out, where we have more players driving, but across different servers. Because we have so many people in the same lobby, look at what it's just doing. It's creating this front pack of like 6 different players, and that pack is changing every single time. It is so close, and every mistake is absolutely terrible for your well-being for the rest of the round.
But again, though, we talked about it, short memory is key. Have one bad round, it cannot mean a bad day. And as you've seen, I mean, players are getting wins and then unable to find solid runs afterwards, and players aren't having the best runs and getting a win after that. And so short memory seems to be all around for all these players, but I'm wondering if Crosshairs can hold on. Just needs to play it smart. Continuing in that first place spot, Sam and Elcon, 2-3 feed, stepping up in that third place spot, but Crosshairs, no mistakes made, taking the win to put himself in that second spot with 2 finalists now moving on.
Double finalist territory as we move on to our next track of the group, and we're going to be working to make sure that all works out and that we can make sure that we get you guys into the action soon. But for the time being, we are going to find ourselves moving on to the next round of this, and it's going to get hairy from here on out. We've got a bit of a different track to look at, so it's certainly going to be a fun one.
It kind of always comes down to what this preparations is like, and so you have Crosshairs, you have Elcon sitting in that spot with just one more win. Doesn't matter what track, one more win will move them on in the top 8. Whereas you have Dionysus looking with those. So you have a ton of people, Dionysus included, with these 0 wins, still trying to get there first. You have this group including Ratchet and Sam with that 1 looking to get their second. And so I'm wondering, Junior, will we see another top 8 player arise, or will we see a couple of these 0 wins or 1 wins force themselves up?
Thankfully, if you find yourself in finalist territory, you can kind of let off the throttle ever so slightly, but you can't worry too much. In the open qualifiers, it was win 4 rounds and you move on. This one, it's only win 3 and you move on. So while you find yourself in that finalist territory, you can start to sit back just a little bit and identify the best possible line moving forward, as we see Volnera take the advantage and Feeds in hot pursuit with John Ream right behind them. So keeping things going, keeping things moving, but I think you can sit back a little bit here and just find the best line because you're not in immediate peril.
Yeah, Feed just right behind Volnera. Volnera still trying to get their first win. Feed stepping out in front, but this is the identity. This is where you want to have so much momentum. The inside line is huge from Volnera. Feed knocking on this door, but gets bumped off to the side. Volnera holding on to get that first win.
Holding on, we have yet another drivers scoring here, as I believe that's only 3 players that have not yet found that round win so far as well. It's getting closer and closer with each round we traverse down. So keeping things up, still in that double finalist territory. Crosshairs specifically is certainly looking to qualify here. Elcon also in hot pursuit here.
Feed once again out in front. Volnera getting a bit too high, so it's Feed, Ratchet, and I believe in this conglomerate cause it's Tmgl looking to come into that second place spot. Elcon still in this finalist position, rocking at about third, but Feed with such a huge lead heading into this first underwater section.
Yeah, and because of that, your wheels, you're going to lose traction, and so you got to maintain that moving on forward. As now we got to maintain, got to regain. Feed loses momentum, doesn't contain that at all. As now we're closing in on this identity phase, and now got to make sure that they have the most admirable start here. Feed takes the inside line. Elcon's in close pursuit. Feed's still ahead, but Elcon bumps the environment. Feed's going to take this one all the way.
What?
I say that as they hold this, and Volnera takes that. What?
Scoped in from a mile away. Call it a snipe, because Volnera taking it off of the nose of Feed, who lost so much momentum, putting himself in that finalist position. Volnera now with 2 wins on the day.
I wasn't ready for that at all. Oh my
Neither was
goodness.
Feed.
It was just so out of nowhere. I thought the momentum had been contained. I thought Feed had it in the bag, but no, Volnera takes it. And it wasn't just Volnera. There were like 5 different players that came over at the same time. And, well, it just shows that this race can change at any given moment. You got to win the entire track, and Sam fighting themselves out early to a start.
And Nice is just riding an inside line and not catching too much momentum. Was in first for a moment, but losing behind their Ratchet in first, and I believe that's Barbos. But the inside line, not enough to hold on, but he is biting at these heels. Now back in this second place spot. Nice is looking to hold on here and finish it through the water glider, but Ratchet winning to the inside. It's going to be a dash. That's a bump coming through. Ratchet takes it.
Ratchet takes it. Is that 4 finalists we find ourselves with? Yes, it is. Volnera, Ratchet, Crosshairs, and Elcon.
Yep.
If one of those 4 win the next race ahead, they will be qualifying for top 8. We are getting into the thick of it right now, Foo.
I mean, the thick of it, and we're in the thick of it right now with almost every car on the scorecard in our screen. As, you know, always at the beginning, it's the great equalizer of who can find the best starts and the best kind of lines to get these leads. Once again, Sam with an early start. Elcon running in a familiar second spot until about this turn. We see him go. Heisman running in second, but Volnera looking to make their mark, make it 3 on Water Glider.
Nope, make it 3, but gotta clip the environment there as Elcon now is on that finalist territory. Sam's right in pursuit. I say that as, well, it looks like they just slipped right off. So I've cursed it. Yes, Sam now in pursuit, but got 3 different players right behind him as Crosshairs is looking to take the advantage. Sam off to a hot start here, about halfway through the identity phase. Has to meet this momentum. Is going to do so. Bounces straight through. Sam's going to take the round. And now we have quintuple finalist territory, as it seems like we're getting more and more likely to see somebody qualify with any given moment.
Right now, it's just up to Wizzy to get into the finalist spot, so everyone is either finalist or no wins, and, you know, then the scoreboard's happy.
Yeah, exactly. We've got almost everybody on the board so far with a round win, and we should be closing in momentarily on the end of Water Glider. We should be moving on to the next map. I believe it's either this or after this round or the next round. So your chances to solidify your spot are slowly running away, and well, you'd like to give yourself the longest possible break, and you'd like to qualify really as quick as you can right here.
You have Crosshairs running in front, but it's Volnera stepping inside, but just a bit too much momentum means he gets rocked off. Feed back out in front, but immediately biting at his heels. Elcon, this is where he had that misstep last lap, and it's now a 2-car race towards the identity. No, that's racing up to the inside, I believe. That's Ratchet, who's now standing in front. Ratchet trying to sign his way to a top 8 berth. Just needs to close it out, but he's going to clip the wall, and he survives, I believe.
He does survive, but I have never felt my heart rate go from double digits to triple digits in such a short period of time. Goodness me, that was close, but I believe as we move on to this next track, it is going to be Ratchet in that second qualifier spot. We still have 4 people on finalist territory, though.
I mean, it has just been kind of breakneck pace to get your wins when you can get them, and wins are obviously in a premium in this event, and they are being hoarded by those players on top, whereas I think... Yeah, Wizzy, I believe, is the only player without a finalist position that has a win on their nose, and so it's finalist, Wizzy, and then everyone else still looking for their first round.
Yeah, and this could be the track that changes it. It's touchdown here. We've seen this one before, and, well, it's going to be an exciting one. So, again, we've got so many people in finalist territory and so many players that have yet to score, and I don't know, Foof. I got a feeling here that as we move on this track that we're going to see some of those zeros turn to ones.
And in case you're just joining us or a bit unfamiliar with this format, we are going through these tracks, and there are 5 rounds on each track. It is about winning 3 rounds, not on the track, 3 rounds overall. You win 3, you move on to the top 8, and we do that until we have 8 players moving on and 8 eliminated. So this is a mad dash to try and secure your spot to possibly move on to that Challengers League play.
We've got 6 players here in the first round, a touchdown inside of 0.2 of a second, and that gap is only getting closer. Elcon right on the heels of John Renee. Now, find ourselves closing in on this identity phase here. We're dipping and dodging and diving and weaving around these pillars. Now we're closing in on the finish line in moments notice into these long jumps through the sky. Gonna have to maintain these. Do not want to clip that ring up there. They are gonna make it through the first, but they're gonna have to make it through several more.
Crosshairs, John Renee, and I believe Elcon, the 3 front runners. Who gets the cleanest exit on at his landing? It's going to be Crosshairs running in front, Elcon in second, wanting to bite to the inside, looking to get that outside momentum, but he's staved off by Crosshairs, who is now moving on.
Got ourselves our third to qualify. We've got Panda, we've got Ratchet, now we've got Crosshair. Now it's a 13-player race to see how quickly they can qualify here. We still have several people on finalist territories as they do drop that gear right off the start. And now, go back into this track. We've seen these jumps. We've seen how crucial they can be in the open qualifiers. Now it's a matter to see if they refix those mistakes or if they continue on doing what they've been doing.
Sean Renee in first. I believe that's Finn and Coco dropping at kind of second and third spot, and now we see that tight hairpin turn with the engine off. It's who has that cleanest line and who is understanding that conservation of momentum. Finn to the inside, Sam right behind him, Jean Renee rounding out that top 3, but Volnera bites to the inside. This player is also a finalist, so you can never overlook them. Now moving all the way up to second place, but getting a bit too high, flying too close to the sun as he catches that checkpoint.
Wings have melted, fallen into the ocean. Going to have to reset and regain for the next round, as now he's got that entirely close pack once again. That's 4 different players in the exact same spot as we move into this second quarter pipe territory. They're going through these jumps, and they're going to have to make it through the uprights. Jean Renee finds himself with the advantage. Sam in close pursuit, and 2 right behind. Got to make it around the pillars, and Jean Renee is going to find themselves a win.
It looks like you have to be almost with your front tires in the middle of your car, if that car in front of you, I'm trying to find the terminology as it's eluding me, as English language usually does, in that last part of the identity to try and make that pass in the final turn, because it doesn't matter how clean your entrance and exit is, you cannot make an entire car length up unless there is a disastrous error at the end.
Yeah, it may just be a short period of time, but with how time precision-based Trackmania finds itself to be, like you're talking about, Foof, when you have that kind of disadvantage, you can't make that up right at the very end.
Sam in that first pack, just kind of continuing to jostle around with all of these cars. Elcon stepping out in front, but just for a moment as he gets a little too low now. Barbos in front, Wizzy looking to move himself in that second spot and try and find a finalist position, perhaps, as he dives right behind Barbos. Barbos still holding off, just needing to find a clean finish as he's got a good lead heading into these jumps.
Identity phase initiated. Now Wizzy right on pursuit of Barbos. He's got that 1 point, but Barbos suddenly finds themselves wanting to get back on the board. Could take the advantage here. Close jump. Oh, but the wheels clip the edge, and Barbos is going to find themselves an advantage. Dionysus is going to clip as well, and Aside's not able to catch up that ground in time. Barbos puts themselves on the board.
All right, so what Wizzy does is he takes the risky route of trying to have as little of a landing position as possible. And because he does not get that final tire on, he does not complete the landing and ends up dropping out. But that is the risks I'm talking about that you're going to see players trying to make when they're looking to get those either finalist spots or move on. And so looking once again. Elcon stepping out in front early. Jean-René in the second, looking to go inside and perhaps take that first place position. Again, this front pack very familiar in the early stages of this race.
Front pack is familiar, but again, no collisions means that you're just racing yourself here. We're hearing from chat that apparently we've been cursing Elcon, so we will do our best to not do that. Elcon's been doing a great job, just hasn't been able to find it here on touchdown so far.
And he's been running in that 1-2 spot early on. It's just about finding these end points. A beautiful dive to the inside. He's now in front with this checkpoint. Just needs to hold on, riding to the outside. Barbos almost door to door with him here as we enter this identity. Going up high, hitting the checkpoint. That was someone going to the moon. I don't know who that was, but Elcon still in front. Barbos knocking on the door. Diving in the inside is Wizzy, so it's going to be an Elcon Wizzy. I believe Barbos races here, but Elcon looking to stave it off and secure his spot in the top 8. No checkpoint hit. That's going through.
All right, we stopped cursing Elcon. They do qualify. We've got 4 that have now qualified. We've got Pandas, we got Crosshairs, we got Elcon, and we've got Ratchet that we saw recently. Now, we're halfway there, but we still have several players on the scoreboard that have not found that round win yet. We still find ourselves with many people still on that finalist territory, but just have not been able to convert.
Production in the back end is telling me that I couldn't get the name, but that car just landed that we saw launching up into the air. Finally back in time for this round, but Sven riding along with him. You see Sam out in front riding into that grass. Sven going for the inside line, moving up into second place, but needs to find that momentum back as that was a beautiful run. But can you make something out of it? Because making moves in the middle of this track gains ground, but you have to finish strong at these identities.
It's like you're winding up a spring or something where you're containing all of that, you're squeezing it in, and then as soon as you find yourself in that identity phase with those quarter pipe jumps that we're so familiar with, you have to maintain that momentum, but also it can come back to bite you. You don't want to give too much momentum in and, well, just send yourself to the moon like we saw in the last round. Sam right now being the beneficiary of just consistent momentum control. Now into the second of these jumps, and Sam maintains the advantage, but Barbo's right on their heels. Got to maintain that inside line. It's close. It's right on the money, but Sam's going to make it through. We have our 5th driver to qualify.
And that is a beautiful ending there for Sam, who's been running so strongly. I was just wondering if we could see perhaps a pass in this final little turn. But again, you need to be basically almost door to door with him to make that pass stick. And with not enough momentum, not enough time, not enough space, we see Sam closing it out for that 5th finalist spot.
And now we find ourselves on Tiny Gap, I believe, the 5th of our 5-map pool, which means I believe we're effectively guaranteed to loop back into the rest of the maps later. But I guess we've already have 5 people qualified. We have 2 different players on finalist territory. We still have some that have yet to score, but there's 2 or so drivers that find themselves now with 1 round win. Tiny Gap could completely change that.
Listen, man, I'm always a fan of Tiny Gap because I love the tinier gap. And I will always be an advocate for the tinier gap to see who can make it into the spot. You don't win, you're probably eliminated if you make the tinier gap, but you make my day and you give me the content. So that's all I hope for.
It is a precision-based identity. I mean, really all of these identities are precision-based, but you really have to... It's so marginal, the amount of error range that you can have and still succeed. Like, you have to execute it flawlessly, and it's a risk at the end of the day. So they'll bug slide around this corner. They'll move to these different canteens, if you will. They're bouncing off the cartons, and now they find themselves continuing to turn, but Barbos has found themselves falling behind, and Jean-René finds himself right on the tails of the leader.
I gotta say, one of my favorite moments was being able to ride physically Junior. I got to ride along with Carl Jr. as he talked me through this track. And so I'm sitting back and watching. Obviously, we get to watch a Trackmania Grand League player play this map, but I'm wondering who wants to take that bite in this identity, who can find the right line, understanding how much speed you need as you get this car up and what times do you want to land. As Volnera landing it clean, as Jean-René with a perfect run to snipe it there at the landing of the identity.
I believe it was Volnera that clipped their back wheel as they jumped to kind of kill some of that momentum. Because of that, they lose some of that speed when they land. So Jean-René now finds himself in finalist territory, and we have to talk about Volnera here because to me, that's the name that sticks out. They have been on finalist territory for so long.
I mean, it is, you know, you harken all the way back to the first map. he was running 2-3 the entire time and never got that first win. In the second map, got a couple under his belt and has now been back in that middling 2-4 spot with a couple of DNFs. And you're just wondering if Volnera can find that single one to close it out. And I mean, you talk about 5 already off the boards. These spots are starting to go, and it's can you get yours and secure it?
Can you get your spot and secure it? 5/8 of the field has been decided now. There's only 3 spots remaining left. Dionysus now, I believe, taking the advantage. No, just right on the heels of the front runner. No, going to take the inside line. And okay, we've got ourselves a bit of a new player here. Dionysus, incredibly veteran here, but going to have to take this lead when they have them. They bump their back wheels, and there's 4 different players, 5 that are all contending, and 3 miss up. Coco's going to come from 5th place and secure it.
The tinier gap collects them all, but Coco with a beautiful run to take that one there and give himself his first win, I believe.
First win on the board. Coco's starting to score, and now, I mean, again, we just see the level of competition, how cutthroat this map can be. I love Tiny Gap. It is probably my favorite map out of the pool that we have seen so far in Tmgl Open, and so because of that, this is just a great 5th map to end on, but we could be finding ourselves on a 6 as these rounds continue forward. We're seeing everybody contribute, only a few not on the scoreboard yet, and well, we still got those 3 spots up for contention. It's still anybody's ballgame.
I'll be honest, I'm all for that. And you're always going to hear me harking on the tinier gap. I think that should be a secret finish, without a doubt. Like, if you could land that perfectly, you should be able to have some kind of secret ending there. But right now, it is a 3-car race, and there's that man, Volnera, catching the side. And I was about to praise him for finally being in a great spot to try and get that finalist, or to get that win. But Wizzy is another name that we talked about early who has had a rough patch of it now, sitting in first, trying to get his 2nd point of this whole run, but it's a beautiful step up by Barbos. Wizzy running in 2nd, and he needs to have that player mistake in front of him, and it's not going to happen. A bump coming through, feet hits as well, so it's Dionysus and Clips. What's going on? I believe Barbos takes it. A comedy of errors.
Oh,
what?
My goodness. We got to talk about that end of the identity phase. We got to slow down. We got to reset because, holy cow, what just happened there? I believe that was Dionysus that clipped the finish line post and didn't cross first, though had the advantage. Barbos, I believe, messed up, but still came from behind. Goodness me, Foof, my brain can't comprehend. We just got to go on to the next round.
Yo soy Fiesta indeed. Oh my gosh, it was amazing. As now we are back into the thick of it once again. Sitting in front, I believe that's Volnera, who is clipping very dangerously on the edge. It's Feed, and I believe, I couldn't see who that 3rd name was in time, but Volnera in this finalist spot. He had a couple of miscues on this exact part of the track, and this is another point where you see Sven diving to the inside to keep that momentum. Volnera now up in front, in control, and just needing to close this one out.
Sven has found themselves just haven't been able to convert yet. Same with the side. There's several players that have not put up a point yet, but this could be a size. All that comes down to momentum here, into the identity, through the tiny gap, as there's 6 different players. Feed's at the front.
Barbos.
Is he going to cross? Yes, they are. Feed's going to cross, and now we've got ourselves a Feed win.
Feed able to get the first dub here for themselves, and you can see it now. Just everyone, this track, I've already said it once, but this is the great equalizer, Junior. You get to Tiny Gap and it goes, all right, boys, who can land it?
Who can land it? Who can make it through the gap? We've talked about it so much, but it is in the name of the track. Now, we do have the best time so far is from Feed. That was 106.3, as you can see at the top left of your screen. So it's a pretty respectable time. Anything under a 106 is pretty strong, and so right now we're right on the verge of that. But with all these guys looking to qualify for Tmgl closed series, then well, this is going to be on the horizon. I believe, if I'm remembering the format correctly, top 8 find themselves guaranteed in that promotion series for TMGLC, but top 4 are guaranteed to compete in TMGLC.
Yep, top 4 locked in. 5 through 8 have a chance and a half to kind of play in through that play-in series, which is going to be an absolute blast, mind you. But Coco running in front. Never mind, Barbos. Just a beautiful run to stay in front. Dionysus in 2nd. You have a Seed in 3rd, and this is a dive, and that would have been the one to run all of them, but he could not close it out. Barbos taking this one. I believe it's number 2 for sure, but possibly number 3 on Tiny Gap to put him in that 6th finalist spot.
6th finalist spot, which means that as we reset the pool, as we go to the next map, the next track, that we only have 2 spots remaining, and we currently find ourselves with 2 different players on finalist territory.
And you know what? I hate to like curse it. I'm going to curse it. I'm going to do it. And we're not going to see the finalists who have the finalists win in this track. I think we're going to see people possibly step up. We might see a seed who's been running in that 3-4 spot with now 6 cars out of the way. He's technically 6 spots already up closer. And so back on Heart, I'm wondering who is going to be able to take that step, because we're back on where we started it all.
Back on where we started it all. If you didn't catch the beginning of the broadcast and you aren't familiar with this map, the identity phase of this is these very narrow planks almost that you have to traverse down, and you get a glimpse of those just right on that tube that Jean-René comes out the better of. As again, back to this tight pack, but falls right behind immediately as I call out his name. As this map is so narrow in the sense that there is not only just marginal room for error, but there's also just a tiny track to travel down. So 2 spots remaining. We've got 2 different players on finalist territory. Some of them have been there for a while, but if there's any time to make up some ground, well, they're running out of time and they're running out of options quick.
Well, this is the track where we saw Vulnera running to so many times. Time and time again, Junior. Never the bride, but the bridesmaid. Vulnera trying to break it. We saw Wizzy get a win here. So 2 cars who have already performed so strong in this map back to doing what they started. Wizzy, Vulnera racing 1-2. Wizzy out in front, but just by a hair. Not even a 1/10 of a second as we start to get to the end of this track.
Identity phase can't mess up now. Vulnera is going to have the advantage here. Just needs
Inside
to secure
line.
these last 2 planks. Is going to make it through. We've got our 7 guaranteed, and now it's a battle for the 8th.
What a run there, Vulnera, with the small in-cut to just take the legs out from underneath Wizzy, who was looking as if he was going to confirm a finalist spot. But Vulnera instead moving on in the 7th competitor to lock it in. Only 1 more spot in the top 8. One of these players racing will move on. 7 or 8, excuse me, move back and have to go through it all again next split.
It's not going to be a fun reality, but it's how it ends up going. Jean-René is on that finalist territory still. Certainly would like to take this so they can qualify for that top 8. Sven's taking this advantage right now as they'll go through the checkpoint. They'll have the lead by about 0.05 of a second, but Jean-René right on their tail is sitting right in that cockpit and not letting anything go awry. Sven now into this water phase, gonna have to deal with the wet wheels right afterwards. But as we close in on this identity phase, Foof, we're starting it right now. Sven's got the advantage, but Jean-René would certainly like to take this one away.
Oh, Sven caught the outside, so Jean-René just needs to clean finish. Walk it home, big fella. Doing just that, securing the 8th and final spot in our top 8 to move on.
We've got our top 8, and I might have just cursed it towards the end, as I believe Sven just messed it up towards the end, and Jean-René is the one to capitalize on it. So we have our top 8. We know who's moving on forward, and well, we've got ourselves some more rounds coming up. I love this format. I love the way that it's worked so far, and it has just been incredible to see these 8 drivers. GG's to everybody who was a part of this lobby right now, all 16 of you guys, and the 8 that did not qualify. We look forward to seeing you guys next season, but we do have our top 8, and congrats can only be as loud as we can for them.
Congratulations.
They will be moving on guaranteed to that promotion side, and well, that Tmgl Open is starting to look more and more like TMGLC.
I mean, it is now a lot less open, and it's become more of a closed off, and a top 8 berth gives you that chance. But ladies and gentlemen, that is not all we have today. We're going to take this 8 and break them out into 2 groups of 4. But we're going to be giving ourselves a break and giving the players a short break. Again, Foof, Junior PQ, make sure you stay in touch with that guy. We're going to be bringing in Gigabyte and Hunted to carry you through the rest of this. Thank you, Twitch chat, for letting us be here. Have a great day, and we'll catch you on the flip side.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for the final 8 of the Trackmania Grand League Open Series. And once again, we started off the Open Series for this season, and we're going to bring it to a close this season to Gigabyte and Hunted, bringing you the action for this final 8 of the Open League. And Hunted, it feels like just yesterday where we started off with thousands of players trying to qualify for these top 8, and here we are with the best of the best.
Yeah, the top 8, these each player, you know, you've made it through the difficult stage of just getting here to the playoffs. Now each and every one of them has secured an opportunity to play into the Challenger division next season. But right here, right now, is where you can punch your ticket if you can place top 4. And some of these racers, I got my eye on Panda specifically, are looking very, very good today. And it can be, I think it's just going to be a tough battle all the way around.
Yeah, for those of you, just a quick review here. The final 8, all of these players, like Hunted just said, will have the opportunity to compete to play in Challenger. Top 4 move on immediately. 5 through 8 are going to have to fight their way in through the promotion tournament. However, this one's a little bit longer as well. Still 5 rounds per track. However, this time you need 4 wins to move on into that top 4. So that's what everyone's going to be vying for, and this is going to be extremely cutthroat. We're going to see players taking chances, taking some risky lines, especially if we get later on down the line and the remaining spots are dwindling. You're going to see some players start to pull off some crazy stuff to try and vie their way in to not have to play through that promotion tournament.
And not to mention, you know, an extra round needed, or an extra round win, I should say, needed to move on in this top 8. So need to play consistent all the way through. Of course, we are still going to play 5 rounds per map, so we could see if a player comes out real strong here in the first map, which should be Water Glider. I believe it will be the first map here. You know, it's an opportunity for them to make their mark and punch their ticket into that Challenger division for next season. However, interesting stat for you, Kiga. You mentioned how you and I kind of opened the season. It's been what, a month now? It feels like you said, kind of like it was just yesterday. 3 players from that qualification tournament have actually made it into the top 8 here. So almost all 4. Only Melio, the one dropping, unfortunately. But
unfortunate.
3 players from that first qualifier, and interestingly enough, actually 2 of them from the last one as well. So definitely a little bit of a spread, and I'm certainly looking forward to this.
Yeah, so I guess that kind of debunks the myth, though, of which qualifier is better to make it in through. You said it. There are 2 from the final qualifier, so it's all about consistency, and that's going to be something that these players are going to have to be good at if they make it to the Challenger Series. They're going to have to be consistent, and even if you made it through from the last one, you still have to do it consistently, and you still have to make it through every time. And that's going to be the biggest challenge for these players here. And you said you like Panda in this one, Hunted, I believe?
Yes, sir.
I'm kind of thinking Ratchet's going to take the overall victory here. But you know what? We'll find out here shortly as we are getting great with our first round of this top 8. We will figure out shortly who will be moving on to play in that Challenger Series directly and who's going to have to fight their way in. And already, Ratchet, actually my favorite, out to the early lead.
And you know, funny enough, we started the season on this map as well. We started on Water Glider, the first map of the Open Division. It's only fitting that the top 8 start here as well. And Elcon, again, he's been very good on the plastic all season long. Look to see him have a pretty good map here if he can keep up with Ratchet and company, as Ratchet is going to fall to the second place, but Jean-Rene right into the wall to open things up. Elcon, though, gaining here on Ratchet. This is going to be a fight for the first round of the top 8. And Elcon overtakes. He's just got to hang on through the identity here. Barbos going to make a case for himself, but Elcon will be the first to take a round. Well done to him, outracing Ratchet there through the middle section.
I almost thought Elcon was going to lose it there right at the very end, as he got kind of a little bit swifty off the launch there. Almost face planted into the right side of the finish line, but was able to clutch it up and make it through. And it just looked like Ratchet there towards the end, not quite as great on the transition into the water glide, the identity itself. So that is really where we saw the strength for Elcon. Now, really great through the early part of this map was Ratchet. Elcon not exactly as strong as we see there, but it's gonna come down to that transition, and right here is one of those critical transition points. Panda, so good at that. And no bonk this time from him, so this might be a Panda round if he can hold it out.
And he's got a pretty decent lead. About 0.2 of a second, though. That's closing quickly. Here comes Ratchet. What a great transition. Panda gonna give it his all. But Ratchet, he's lost a little bit of speed. Panda's got him beat down the straight, but it's Ratchet by 0.01. Unbelievable there from Ratchet. A very close finish. The top 1 and 2 from the round of 16.
A single hundredth of a second. That is how close it was. And yeah, Ratchet might have overtaken Panda there, but just the wide line on that final corner and how much speed it can get you, really just a credit to Panda there. And you know what? Any racing game, whether it's Trackmania or a more realistic racing game, you'll be able to get a good run like that if you take a wider line. More time to accelerate, and Panda recognized that he needed to do it, almost pulled out the win as a result of that. And Panda, once again, out to the early lead here, but has been struggling a bit on the identity as well.
And every time I see Barbos in that GBR car, I always have to look at the scoreboard and make sure it's Barbos. Always used to seeing him in the German vehicle, but repping the Great Britain this time around. Panda, will he be able to hang on to the lead here? Barbos nipping at his heels, but I don't think it's going to be enough. And it was Ratchet at the end.
What?
He beat him again.
By 2 milliseconds?
I didn't
even see. What?
It
it was 2 milliseconds.
I thought Panda had that 100%, and it's Ratchet again who steals a second round in a row away from Panda.
My goodness, Ratchet just came out of nowhere. I didn't even see him, honestly. But you know what? If you're good, you're good, and sometimes you can just clutch it up when you need to. Ratchet now only has 2 more rounds to go before he punches his ticket to the Challenger League.
Elcon, a couple of times we've seen Elcon go wide on that turn. He has a good initial transition onto the plastic. He just has a little bit too much speed, goes wide as Ratchet and Barbos look to be arguing for the top spot. Here's Sam and Jean-Rene getting into the mix. Jean-Rene, maybe a little bit too much speed around that turn. Elcon takes the lead. Sam can't quite hang on. And Elcon with his second to match Ratchet. And with how many players we've talked about in the lead heading into that identity, Giga, it's crazy that we've had 2 players win 2 rounds each.
Yeah, but that identity just seemed to be bringing a lot of people closer together. The leader seems to struggle on that a little bit, and the back 2 or 3 are able to catch up. I wonder if that's going to continue to be a trend, but this is the last round we will see on this map, so no one's going to be advancing directly from this. Ratchet had a chance, but it's 2-2 all the way around for Elcon and Ratchet. Are they going to be able to get finalist on this map, though? Neither one are out front at the moment. In fact, Sam jumps out in front of Jean-Rene, who was very strong through that early portion. As we go to the back half of the map, whoa, what a bonk. Barbos is going to go out and take the lead away from Sam. Panda actually DNF'd as a result of that. Barbos and Sam are going to fight it out for the remaining position. Barbos falls back a little bit, but takes the inside line. He's going to be a bit quicker out of the kink than Sam, and he's going to take the round win. And Barbos gets his first one.
Yeah, well done for Barbos getting on the board here in our last round on Water Glider, at least this time around. And I believe we will be transitioning into Quicksand from here. So 5 more, or maybe I'm wrong. That does not look like Quicksand. That would be Touchdown if we are playing this map. Either way, we're going to a new map regardless, Keegan. And for Barbos, I think that's kind of a really great win to tack on there. He was struggling a little bit in that round of 16. You know, obviously did end up making it into the top 8. I kind of expected him to be towards the top, you know, first, second, third potential from Barbos in that round of 16, and it's good to see him get one on the board here.
Well, it does seem like he kind of takes a minute to warm up over time. Not exactly great out of the gate is Barbos, but you know what he lacks in the early power, he makes up for in the long-term consistency, which is why we're seeing him get on the board here with at least one going into the second map. Now let's see if he can actually challenge Elcon and Volnera, who are currently out into the lead on touchdown.
This seems like a map much better suited for Volnera. He wasn't really in the picture too often on Water Glider, but immediately makes his presence felt here against Elcon, who I think Elcon's going to be running towards the top of the pack regardless of map, but he clips the edge there. And now it's Volnera. Ratchet trying to track him down. Not too much left, but the identity can be a killer if you don't play it right. We'll see how Volnera opts to take it here. Oh, Ratchet trying to undercut him. He's got to be careful of the checkpoint, and he makes it work. One final jump here for Ratchet, and he'll get his third on the board, but there's the touch. Volnera retakes his lead and should be able to turn this one in for his first win.
Yes, he does. Volnera gets on the board. And that was really, really close for Ratchet, just barely clipping a little bit low on that checkpoint. However, he still has a couple more rounds to do this with. But it's good to see someone get on the board for the first round of this one who hasn't gotten one yet, showing off each of these players' strengths and, well, falling right to the back for that one. Meanwhile, Ratchet and Elcon up front and vying to try and get to that first finalist position, but we've already seen the identity take out Ratchet once. Let's see if it's going to be able to do it again, or Elcon maybe. I believe Elcon actually had an instant a little bit further back.
Uh-oh. Yeah. Elcon's been very fast today. He's just had a little bit of consistency issues, and, you know, not to call him out, but that's kind of been that's kind of been plaguing him all season long, is just hasn't really been consistent enough. You know, had to go through a couple of qualifiers to get here, but he is putting on a great performance now. We'll see if he can be the first player to 3-round wins. Barbos, however, wants to make his presence felt here, looking for his second to pull within the leaders. Ratchet and Sam as well, giving Barbos a run for his money into the final jump. Barbos looks to land it well, and if he can just finish things off here, nice final corner, and Barbos pulls himself up to 2. So 3 players, as you can see, both the Shift boys there, Barbos and Ratchet, 2 apiece. Elcon as well. Everybody's trying to play a little bit of catch up here. Panda, notably, my pick here, Kiga's still not on the board.
No, not yet, but Panda's been challenging up front nearly every single time, but he's got to get it in gear here, otherwise he's going to be left in the dust. With 3 players now on 2 wins apiece, and Volnera sitting there with 1, he's in danger of losing that front pack, so he needs to kind of get it going a little bit, but so far he seems to be really struggling on touchdown.
And maybe not his map, maybe not one that he's practiced as much as some of these other competitors. As again, you see the 2 Germans battling back and forth for the lead. Both Barbos and Ratchet and Elcon, all 3 of our leaders right now in the top 3 heading into the identity. Who's going to come out ahead? Elcon goes really high there, and Barbos and Ratchet still neck and neck. It's going to come down to this jump. Barbos may be a little bit better on the exit. Yes, he overtakes Ratchet. And Elcon still keeping his name in contention, but Barbos with 2 in a row. He's our first finalist.
Barbos ready to punch his ticket. He's super, super strong here on touchdown. You said it yourself. 2 in a row for him. Can he make it 3 to make his way into the Challenger League? We'll have to see. In just over a minute and a half when they cross the finish line. Ratchet not letting him go, though. Ratchet is just breathing down his neck and has been the entirety of the round so far. Ratchet out to the early lead. Volnera, flips it off on that awkward little corner there. Ratchet and Elcon just breaking away from the pack, and they have been doing that consistently every single round on both Water Glide and Touchdown so far.
They definitely seem to be comfortable, as unfortunately for Volnera, he has DNF'd out of this round. But Ratchet looking to really open up this lead on Elcon, but you can never be too comfortable when Elcon's tracking you down. Jump there from Ratchet. He had that issue in the first round with touching the checkpoint, looking to avoid that here. Tries to play it a little bit safe. That might end up costing him. Elcon doesn't quite have the speed to catch up. He's going to run second again. Well, didn't even get second that time, but regardless, Ratchet hangs on to the lead, and now both Germans leading the way, 3 apiece.
Both German shifties.
German shifties,
on
indeed.
Oh, yeah, about to get shifty. Oh, my goodness. All right. Sorry, I just showed my geek there.
Hey,
anyway,
okay,
Crosshair's actually out to the lead of this one. I don't believe... No, Crosshairs does not have any points on the board yet. So if Crosshairs can get this one, it's going to get just a little bit more tight in the standings. And he's actually doing a good job so far of staying out ahead of everybody.
And, I mean, Crosshairs was one of the surprising players in that round of 16 with how quickly he was able to take a couple of wins. Now struggling a little bit here to find his way. This is the last round of Touchdown. Could we have our first player into the Challenger division? Crosshairs wants to play spoiler. Everybody going up high this time. Crosshairs still comes out ahead. Sam giving him chase, as Sam will technically take first through the checkpoint, but Crosshairs takes it right back, and he will hang on to find his first win. So 2 maps down. We have 2 finalists, but no winners.
Well, this is exactly what you want to see, isn't it, Hunted? You want to see
absolutely.
These guys battling neck and neck and neck for that top 4 position. 2 finalists. We have a couple other players on 2, and then Elcon on 2, and then Crosshairs and Volnera on 1 as we move into
Heart, it looks like.
I believe this is Heart. Yeah.
Yes.
One of the newer tracks that we actually haven't seen here in the Open League yet, so it's going to be interesting to see how the top of the top of the top actually handle this track. I mean, we saw it in the previous round, but we haven't seen it with the top 8 yet, so
Right.
I want to see how the best of the best of the best in the Open League are able to handle this map.
I mean, Panda had a pretty good run in the top 16 here on this map. Ooh, unfortunate for Crosshairs. Can't keep it on the opening turn that time. There's Jean Rene out in front. Haven't said his name too much here in the top 8, but 2 players we certainly have. Barbos and Ratchet going to retake that lead. However, Barbos, I think, touching that wall. Jean Rene looking for his first round win. It was a long road through the open bracket for Jean Rene, and he gets a little bit of luck there, as I believe that was Ratchet off the corner. Elcon giving chase, but maybe Jean Rene starting to make a case for himself. But as I say that, Kiga, he taps the wall. Elcon will be the benefactor. He still has a good bit of track left to go, though. Volnera giving chase, and there's Volnera to take the lead. He was looking for his second. Sam will snipe him at the end. No, he falls off. Volnera takes the victory. Unbelievable first round of Heart.
Hunted, you got to start punching your your curse card.
4 people in one round. As soon as I mention it, that's unbelievable.
All right, everybody. Hunted has 4 strikes so far. I don't think I've had one yet.
I don't think I've ever been that unlucky.
You are just the caster curse king today, aren't you?
I guess. I mean, you got to hype him up, right?
Define hype.
But they hear me talking about him, and maybe it's just a conspiracy.
It's conspiracy theory confirmed. Everybody put on your tinfoil hats and put your spaghetti strainers on your feet. It's a conspiracy here at Trackmania. Panda up front now. We haven't said his name a lot. In fact, we said his name a little bit earlier.
Panda, no.
He's looking for his first, but he did get a little bit of a touch there on the dirt section. That allowed Crosshairs to jump out to the lead. Sam also looking for his first. Oh, no! Never mind. I will be the one to do it this time.
Well, Crosshairs, can he take hold of this round? He will. Barbos watching him finish in front as it gets a little bit more dramatic now. Crosshairs, Volnera, Elcon on 2, Ratchet and Barbos a finalist. Sam, Panda, and Jean-Rene struggling to find their first. And I have to say, Gigabyte, I know that, you know, there are some very, very good players from, you know, many different countries, but with how many French players we had in the top 16, the fact that there's only 4 and 3 of them have no points through 2.5 maps, it's a bit surprising. But when you look at the names, Barbos, Elcon, Ratchet, Crosshairs as well, who's giving chase in this race, maybe it shouldn't be as surprising as it is. But speaking of Frenchmen, here's Panda out in the lead for what seems like the first time in this top 8. Can he hang on? I think that's going to be the question.
Well, managed to avoid that tricky little conversion in the water section where that's been tripping up so many people. Crosshair is going to lose it. It's a 3-way battle for the victory. Barbos up front might be able to snipe it. No, Ratchet takes it, and Ratchet actually is going to be the first one punching his ticket to the Trackmania Grand League Challenger Series. And you know what? I called it. Ratchet was the overall winner today.
And 3 rounds, 3 of his 4 wins came with hundredths of a second victories. 2 of them over Panda back-to-back on our opening map. And then that one there beating out his fellow countryman in Barbos right at the end. Congrats to Ratchet. We will see him in the Challenger Division next season. And now we need to find 3 more. Who will it be? Panda looking to make a charge now in the lead yet again. Can he hang on to it? He's got a pack of competitors behind him. Barbos and Elcon leading the way there, and probably his 2 most dangerous opponents right now. And it is going to be Barbos who takes that lead. Elcon the tap. Panda's got to give chase to Barbos now. Coming up to the final couple of jumps. There's been a couple of crashes here. Panda a bit wider line, but a lot more speed. He takes the lead, and he'll hang on for his first round win.
Big for Panda. He needed that to sort of get himself going a little bit, as Panda not doing so well through the first couple of maps. And I believe we're running into the last round of Heart here. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
I think we have 2 left.
I'm not sure. But but yeah, Panda, now that he has a little bit of consistency on Heart, he might be able to pull out a second one here, as we've seen that a lot so far today, where if you win one, you're likely to win a second one in a row. Panda is up front in the front 3, but is kind of chasing down Elcon right now. But Elcon, we've already seen it in the top 16 and top 8 so far, where he has bonked off of that tricky chicane in the water section.
Yeah.
So let's hope he is able, well, let's see if he is able to keep his footing. No, instead he's going to run up against the wall in the dirt section before he can even get to the tricky water section, and Panda is able to navigate it successfully. Might be a Panda 2-fer here.
And Crosshairs wants to put his name in the conversation, though. You can see him going for that line, and he's going to get rewarded for it. Panda the clip at the end, and Crosshairs will add to his total. He goes up to 3, and things get even juicier. As you were right, that was the final round of Heart. We head to the next map. It's either Tiny Gap or Quicksand, and it looks like it's going to be Tiny Gap here. Quicksand, the 5th and final map, most likely a decisive map, Gigabyte, to find the top 4. But my goodness, Barbos, you have to imagine he's getting a little antsy right now. He's been on 3 for so long. He saw Ratchet finish hundredths of a second in front of him to place first in this top 4. And now we transition to Tiny Gap, where a lot of players, just about everybody in the open division, have had tough rounds on throughout the season.
Yeah.
It's going to come down to, I mean, for some of these players, it's going to come down to just having that one good run.
It almost doesn't matter how well you do in the front part of this, because I say almost.
Almost.
Because we've already seen some craziness in the identity of this map, and you never know. If you fall off the map early like Panda did, you don't necessarily have to DNF, because you might still have a chance to come up and take the victory, because we've already seen it happen in the top 16. So everybody besides Panda who actually DNF'd is going to stay pretty even here going into the water section. Top 3, Crosshairs, Barbos, and Elcon fighting for it as we go into the identity. Got to get a good jump here. Crosshairs gets out to, or sorry, Barbos and Crosshairs out to a good lead. Barbos is, no, he makes it fine. Just barely. I believe that was Crosshairs who actually smacked the top, and Barbos is going to be the second player punching his ticket.
So both of the Germans take 1 and 2, and that has got to be a great feeling for all the German Trackmania fans out there. Well done to both of them. We will see both Ratchet and Barbos in the Challengers division. But we need 2 more, Kiga. Crosshair still on that finalist. Nobody else quite having that level of success thus far, though Elcon and Volnera both on 2. Panda, who we see on our screen now, does have 1 win under his name, and there's Jean-René, who's surprisingly still looking for his first W here. Sam, unfortunately, not going to find it this round, but can Jean-René track down Elcon and keep him from becoming a finalist? No, as I say that, he doesn't take the turn or the jump there properly, and Elcon's got a little bit of a lead here on Volnera.
Not too much, though, as Volnera is slowly tracking him down, reeling him in. Although he did lose about 2/10 on that one, but Elcon now just has to navigate the last jump here. He has to make a good slip in. Did he make it? No, yes, he did. And Volnera actually got a little bit of a slowdown. Elcon gonna be a finalist now.
I think Elcon got a little bit lucky there. It really looked like Volnera was gaining on him. He just didn't quite have the clear over the top. I think if Volnera lands that cleanly, Elcon probably finishes in second. But hey, rather be lucky than good, and you know, fortunately for Elcon, he's a little bit of both sometimes. And he will be our top runner here, looking for that 3rd place finish, and an immediate promotion to the Challenger League. As we are on board with Jean-René, and again, I wish we could kind of go back and see sort of the history of this top 8 for Jean-René. He was a player that I kind of thought would be a little bit more towards the top, a little bit more of a front runner here in the top 4. As Crosshairs, he is going to get challenged. Oh, big bonk. I'm not quite sure who that was. That was Elcon. He DNF'd immediately. And now Jean-René is going to take that 1st place spot. One final drift around this corner. Crosshairs had to slow up for the jump. And it's going to be Jean-René hitting the tiny gap first. He makes it through, and that will be his first round win.
And Crosshairs fell victim to the tinier gap there as well. So still going to have 2 finalists, and I think only one of them is going to be... Well, no, they can technically both still make it through as we have 2 more rounds here. But you know what? I think we're going to go to that 5th map. Beginning parts here, so critical, but on this map, not so much. Anyone who still hasn't DNF still has a chance to take it, as we've seen.
We are... Ooh, who was that? I believe that was Elcon again. That's again, he can't make it to the tiny gap, to the identity of the track. Crosshairs with a big lead. Panda giving chase, but over 3/100ths of a second, and it's growing as he continues. Volnera really trying to cut down the lead of Crosshairs. Pulls it to about 2.5 Will he be able to keep up? No, he's a 1/2 second behind. This could be it for Crosshairs. He just needs to finish things off, but he goes too far. He doesn't. And Volnera again will watch players crash in front of him, and he makes it through. He will become the first French finalist, and really the hope for France right now to make it through to that Challengers division.
Isn't it crazy that over half of our players in the top 16 were French, and it still could be that none of them make it through to the top 4? That would be insane. But you know what? We're going to have a 5th map to talk about. And Elcon still has the chance to come out and take the dub here. Crosshairs as well actually has a better chance as he jumps out to the lead. I believe right behind him, that's Elcon, so they both could still take it.
Ooh, nice wiggle from Elcon. Look at how much speed he has coming out of the ice. That was...
Oh no, he's gonna bonk!
Too much speed. Maybe a bit too much speed there. Now Crosshairs goes wide. So Sam all of a sudden finds himself out in front. Panda trying to just stay in the picture here. He's got to hope for a Sam bonk on the tiny gap. Not going to happen. Everybody else crashing out, and Sam will say thank you very much. And he's on the board now. And that's everybody. Everybody's got at least a round win now, so we will definitely see Quicksand as we transition over to it. At least 2 rounds here. But things are getting very, very uncomfortable now, I think, if you're still in this race.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we have only 2 spots left, and there are 3 players that have finalists. One of those finalists is not going to move on at the very least. And meanwhile, we could still have Sam, Panda, or Jean-René end up taking the spot as well. So this has gone from, you know, pretty wide open with the 2 Germans in the lead to now being extraordinarily close all the way around as we get ready to start our 5th and not necessarily final, but next map, potentially final, depending on how this works out.
So now, if you are one of the 3, Jean-René, Sam, or Panda, you have to be the player who leads this race, right? Like, there's no relying on your fellow competitors to maybe spoil the party, as Crosshairs unfortunately not going to be through in this round. And there's Panda, as we mentioned him. Sam, oh no, yeah, his race is done as well. But I mean, you have to be in the lead. There's, like I said, with how little margin there is now, you cannot rely on your fellow competitors to take wins and keep you alive. As Panda through the ice, he was very good on this track in the top 16. I expect him to do just the same. He had what, 2 or 3? No, I believe 2 wins here. In that top 16 to really give him a great start. And you can see it looks like this is probably his go-to map. I think he was sweating it out a little bit there, hoping that it would show its face a little bit earlier on, but he takes the first round, and now he's got 2 under his belt, looking to make himself the 4th finalist.
Well, you were saying that you were favoriting Panda, and we finally made it to Quicksand, and you said it yourself. He's very, very strong here in all portions of this track. He's so refined, and his lines are so precise, and he can do them consistently. So, I mean, that's how you get dubs. You just gotta hope that he doesn't bonk in some of these sections like Sean just did. Now Crosshairs and Vulnera breathing down the neck of Panda. Panda cannot make any mistakes, so these 2 will be right on him, as they already are, or they're gonna surpass him.
Yeah, this is kind of nervous moments right now for Panda. He knows if he does not finish this out in front, he's got a problem, and that's with a 3rd place finisher. Will it be Crosshairs or Vulnera? Crosshairs running in 2nd right now, but he's closing the gap ever slowly. He's going to run out of track here, though. He does take that turn a little bit better. He has some good exit speed. But is it going to be enough? They're wheel to wheel. Panda a little bit better coming out, but Crosshairs,
he hits.
He just clips the side. He had to go for it there. Risky line doesn't pay off. We have 4 finalists as Panda claws his way back on Quicksand.
Vying for the final 2 positions in that top 4.
Wow.
Panda, not actually out to the early lead here, but he does take that low line, which does grant him the lead, but he doesn't have a great exit speed. Elcon actually going to take over the lead just barely, but the top 5 now neck and neck. None of them letting off. Volnera actually gets a really good low jump out of that and is able to get some good speed. Crosshairs retains the lead over Elcon. Now, both of these two have struggled in the back half of the track as we are moving into it now.
He's wide.
He's wide. Elcon is able to take the lead from him, but they are still neck and neck.
And there's Panda. Volnera now giving chase a little bit higher on the line there. On the ice portion, Panda extends his lead. Can he make it 3 in a row on quicksand to punch his ticket? He's just got to live through the identity. He's been so good, so consistent here. And it will stay that way. What a finish from Panda. Back to back to back rounds. He's your 3rd place in the first Frenchman through.
The Panda Express goes choo-choo and cannot be stopped. 3 in a row here on quicksand to punch his ticket into the Challenger League. And he's, like you said, at least one Frenchman now moving on into that position, but still huge representation for the other nationalities in this pool of 8. And Jean Rene, still not a finalist, but currently leading, trying to fend off Crosshairs, who is a finalist and could put this away right here and end the top 8.
Man, you have to imagine the players starting to grip the controller a little bit harder. Really coming down to the wire now. Jean Rene knows he needs this win or else it's all over for him. And he goes high. Much too high. Crosshairs takes the lead. And I think that's it. That's going to do it unless Crosshairs can't finish this one out. He's got over a second lead. He can essentially coast to the finish here, Kiga. And that looks to be exactly what he's going to do. Not the fastest line, but he doesn't need it to be. That's Crosshairs through. And he will be our 4th place finisher. Heartbreak for Volnera and Elcon, both finalists. Can't get it done. And unbelievable finish. Congratulations to everybody playing today. What a great top 8. Couldn't have asked for a better group of competitors, but you know, that's just kind of how it goes sometimes, man. You've got to be able to finish it off when you're in that finalist section.
Yes, indeed. And you know what's even more impressive? Both the Germans who were in the top 16 ended up making it through to the Challenger League. Crosshairs also ends up making it through. Jean Rene, or sorry, I believe it was Panda, the only Frenchman able to make it through. But you know what? The other 4 aren't done yet. The 5 through 8, they will be able to move on to that relegation tournament, but that is not something that you want to have to go through. That is going to be a very tough battle amongst those 8 who are trying to make it through back into the Challenger League. Meanwhile, you have Barbos, Ratchet, Panda, and Crosshairs who are just safe to make it through to the Challenger League. We will see them there next season. And huge win for, as well, the international representation in Trackmania. So good to see.
Oh, absolutely. And look, I know that it was tough, you know, especially for Elcon and Volnera. They're, you know, so close, coming so close to that immediate promotion into challengers and you know, really securing a spot. But do not count them out in that promo race. You know, I really do think we're not done seeing promotions from the open division. The competition has been fierce. I mean, you mentioned it when we first came on. We started with thousands and thousands of players each week trying to qualify just to make top 64 in those qualifiers. It came down to the top 8, and there was some drama. There was some moments where it didn't look like, you know, we would end the way that we did. But you, regardless of where you finished here, you know each and every one of these players has that drive to succeed. And I do genuinely believe that we are not done seeing some open division promotions into Challenger next season. Yeah,
I genuinely don't think we're done either. All 4 of those players, like you said, they have the ability to make it to Challenger. They just have to get the right amount of the right maps for them. They have to be consistent on the others to maybe pick off a win here or there. But I'm afraid, Hunted, that's all we've got for the Open League finals today.
Yes.
I mean, and just like that, it's over. But what an action-packed day it was.
Oh, absolutely. And what a great day for Trackmania esports in general. And seeing that, even outside of the top 32, if you will, there's still a lot of great competitors. And, again, some of them making it into now the top 32. So congratulations to everybody again. And thank you to all the players. Again, anybody who tried to qualify in that in those first 4 qualifiers, big shout out to everybody who played. And of course, we can't sign off a broadcast here, Giga, without thanking everybody behind the scenes. Everybody with Nadeo and Trackmania, and of course, Videon and a big shout out to Just Staying Alive, who has been pushing the buttons all season long. He's done a fantastic job, and yeah, man. I mean, it's been a great season. I can't wait for the next one.
Yeah, as well as to all the casters that have been here, myself and Hunted, but also the 2 casters that we had earlier. You guys were absolutely great. Thank you very much to both Foof and Junior P Cubed, as well as all the casters that we've had this season. You were all fantastic. It was great to have you all. And to the audience out there, thank you all for coming out and checking out the Trackmania Grand League Open Series for this season. We're not done with Trackmania Grand League, though. We have Challenger League and Grand League coming up, still remaining to go for the season. So be sure to tune into those over the next couple days and weeks. But Hunted, I believe we are all done here. So audience, thank you very much. We will see you all next season at the Trackmania Grand League Open Series. Have a good day, night, morning, wherever you happen to be, everybody.
Thank you.